Hello, everyone. Scotty White of World Combat Sports. Good morning. Hopefully, everyone is doing great. I know it's a Monday and most of you are at work, but I'm going to stop through because I have to address some waves. I have to address the negative energy that's going on. And, I have to address something that's been basically irrelevant for quite some time, especially when it comes to criticism, within my people internal to what I stand for every day when I wake up, what I know to be true since birth. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people that's up in arms about Deontay Wilder losing this title this weekend. And when it comes to just bantering, just come up here conversating, I get it. I get that a lot of people are up in arms about certain things. I understand that's the way we socialize in society. We want to bring our own opinions together, right or wrong, and we want to talk it out. Some may call it venting. You know what I'm saying? Some may call it venting. But in this particular case, dealing with boxing, it's called hypocrisy. Absolutely hypocrisy. Real talk. And for those of you that's tuned in, I want you to drop your comments because I just want to hear what you have to say. But if you read my title, let me reiterate what my title stands for. I said, lean in. That means with your ear. Black people, shut the fuck up about Deontay Wilder defeat. Half wasn't supporting him anyway. And that's no freaking criticism to anything. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to go back and forth all around the freaking gauntlet, corralling everybody up for a protest to get some unity, all because Deontay Wilder lost his title. Listen, I'm going to tell you some true facts about the American champ. I'm going to tell you some true facts that you might want to put in your pocket and keep every time you jump your ass on social media and act like you were supporting the champ to begin with. Those individuals that are criticizing Deontay Wilder, a lot of them wasn't on his side to begin with. Point blank, period. They wasn't with him. They wasn't supporting him to begin with. Fact and point. His title shot, his first draw with Tyson Fury, what happened? What happened? We've seen him step in there with Stavern, two black fighters in the square, right? Who are you going to go for? Oh, we'll go for Deontay Wilder because, he's the champion. He beat Bermain Stavern back in 2015 for the belt. Let's go with Deontay Wilder. He has the better highlight reels. What's going on, Michael Lewis? What's good? What's good? He has the better highlight reels. What's going on, Randa? Stephen Wood, Sam Robinson. So this is how it's going to be. I just want to touch bases on the entire aspect of certain people who really didn't support Deontay Wilder to begin with. But all I see on social media is individuals saying, oh, it's funny how they switch up. It's funny how they switch up. We done heard that bullshit all before. Don't get on social media talking about switching up. They was never on the team to begin with. Go to freaking Staples Center. What was going on in the Staples Center? They was cheering Tyson Fury, right? So basically, you cannot sit up here and say that all the American people that could have attended in the Staples Center will let the UK crowd that was there to support the Gypsy King overrule you in your home soil. You trying to tell me it wasn't enough American fans there to overrule, to be as loud and boisterous as they possibly can, to let the chants out? You trying to tell me it wasn't possible when you go to football and baseball games and you're cheering for your home team? If you're saying that is indeed the case, then the only thing I can say, you're full of shit, because they was cheering for Tyson Fury at the Staples Center and they was cheering for Tyson Fury at the Madison Square Garden. They were booing Deontay Wilder at the MGM Grand. And y'all getting on here talking about switching up. You sound stupid as hell, because if you was on the team to begin with, your voice would have phased out everything you heard with all the Gypsy Kings and the European fans that was there to support Tyson Fury. You know what I'm saying? You would have drowned that shit out. I'm telling you, the ones that's on here complaining, black people like me, You need to go on somewhere and shut the hell up and move your ass back and support the goddamn champ. If you upset about his loss, I can get it. But all this damn posting on here, the same shit we hear all the time. You hear people all the time giving inspirational quotes when it comes to negativity and the struggle. But when you're doing well, it ain't too much popping off, right? But yet, the American champ, look, the American champ has lost. We're talking about reigning over 5 years, 42-0, 41 knockouts. Reigning over 5 freaking years, going in there for his 11th defense. He loses once, and yeah, you have the naysayers out there that's freaking crying, whining, and being trolls and saying he was a bum. But guess what? Let me tell you this fact. Tyson Fury has called Deontay Wilder a bum himself. He has called freaking Tom Schwarzer. He has called every fighter he steps into the ring with. He had called him a dosser and a bum. And the same American fans are sitting up here laughing and joking and giggling about that shit and thinking it's funny. But yet, the champ loses. A high-profile athlete like Deontay Wilder loses. The same criticism that he's been getting for lacking fundamentals of boxing is the same criticism he had when he initially came into the sport. He took it up on short notice, went through the Olympics, earned a bronze medal, transitioned over to the professional ranks, and worked himself up to 2015, defeating Bermane Stiverne in a decision, the first fighter to go to a decision with the champ. Then from Bermane Stiverne until last night, he had a title reign for over 5 years. He's going in there for his 11th defense, and he was unsuccessful. So let me waver this just a little bit more. Let me shake this for you. Lennox Lewis. Every time I see Lennox Lewis in person, people trying to run up and get an interview. People trying to sit up here and say, oh, that's Lennox Lewis. Can I get a picture? That's a legend right there. Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, and Holyfield was honored in the MGM Grand, right? Right? We're talking about the same Lennox Lewis, right? In 93, fought Tony Tucker. Did he win? Did he win a WBC title? Okay, cool. So we're talking about the same Lennox Lewis that stepped in there over a year later and fought Oliver McCall, right? What happened when he fought Oliver McCall? What happened to Lennox Lewis? He was knocked out in 2 freaking rounds. 2 rounds. Lennox Lewis, the same person you all glorify, the legend, the last undisputed, right? Not the American undisputed. The last American undisputed was Hasim Rahman. But the last undisputed was Lennox Lewis. So therefore, this entire process, we've been working up to get another undisputed champion. So therefore, Lennox Lewis gets stopped in 2 rounds by Oliver McCall. Y'all calling him a bum? Y'all calling Lennox Lewis a bum? Are you calling Lennox Lewis a bum who stepped in there, you know, and in 99 got a controversial draw against Evander Holyfield, then came back and won in November of 99? Is this the same Lennox Lewis who stepped in there against Hasim Rahman in 01, got knocked out in 5 rounds? Knocked out in 5 freaking rounds. Came back in November of 2001. What happened? He was able to avenge that loss. But the only 2 losses on Lennox Lewis' record are knockouts. (41-2). He has 2 defeats. Both of his losses are knockouts. Both of them are KOs. A total of 7 rounds. Deontay Wilder was stopped in 7th round. And y'all up here freaking crying, worrying about somebody calling a grown-ass man that's stupid rich, wealthy, has earned it in the ring, and you worrying about people criticizing him the same way they've been doing ever since he even got the title, ever since he had the title, and now that he's lost the title, shit changes? Man, y'all need to get the fuck up out of here with that shit. It's dumb as fuck. Y'all sitting up here acting like y'all true fans of the Bronze Bomber, but when you sitting your ass in the freaking stands, according to who's he's in the ring with, that's when y'all cheer. If he's in there with Luis Ortiz, cool, we cheering for Deontay. In there with Bermane Stiverne, cool, we cheering for Deontay. You know what I'm saying? But then you switch it up and bring in the Brit, the good storyteller, the one that y'all love to gravitate around, the Gypsy King. Y'all booing the man. Y'all booing the man over and over again. Yeah, it's a lot of flaws he has in his fundamental skill set, but the man has 41 knockouts. He's earned his way to the top. And then I get my people sitting up here putting posts and all this other shit, talking about people changing over. The ones that switching up already that you see right here on social media, they've been on the other side. They ain't never supported the American champ. They just been waiting for him to lose. So why are you up in arms about some bullshit that you can't control? The only person that can control the outcome of that fight from training camp into the square is who? Deontay Wilder. His team and Deontay Wilder. Period. It ain't shit else you can tell me. Nothing. Because Lennox Lewis sit up here and have 2 knockouts on his record. Him and Deontay Wilder at this current state has the same amount of fights. Deontay Wilder, 42-1-1. That's 44 fights, right? Lennox Lewis has 44 fights, right? Deontay Wilder has a TKO stoppage on his record. Corner through in the towel. We got it. Deontay had a problem with it. He voiced it, minimally in the post-fight conference and said, I would rather go out on my shield. We understand that. It depends on the referee. It was a rough, tough, grimy, dirty fight. 273 versus 231. We know that. We know that shit. We truly know what the weight advantage was when we was about to see this fight. We know the headlocks. We saw Tyson Fury leaning, but you got to understand, Sugar Hill wasn't coming in there with Tyson Fury to make y'all believe that he didn't know what the fuck he was doing in the gym. He wasn't going to come in here with the history to his name and say, you know what? It's not like I can't teach boxing. I've been around the sport a long ass time. I know what the fuck I'm doing. So I'm about to teach y'all something. It was team against team, fighter against fighter. Tyson Fury looked superb on that night. He was the better fighter. He outboxed, and he outboxed Deontay Wilder, which we already knew from the first fight that Tyson Fury had the better boxing skills. We know Deontay Wilder has the power. We know Tyson Fury has the better boxing skills. So what did Fury do? He came in with a better game plan, and he made the shit happen. He did in the most dominant fashion. He knocked Deontay down in the 3rd and the 5th round, and Deontay still battled. Did you look at the fight more than once? He was still battling as much as he possibly can in the fight. He did. Let me get to some of these comments, man. Michael Lewis say the boy got whooped. I didn't like it, but it happened. He was 15-0. I thought he would have worked out those kinks by now. A lot of people are talking about, Deontay Wilder should have basically tuned up and put wrinkles to his game as long as he's actually been in the sport. And due to him starting the sport at a late age doesn't mean you can't fine tune. But at the present time, when he was winning and knocking dudes out, he probably did make some changes. He was talking about going back to the basics with Dominique Brazil fight. Okay. They was talking about tightening some things up. He has went through injuries. He's approached the fight with injuries, right? It's on record. He has approached some of his biggest fights with a previous injury. So you ain't talking about no guy who's a chump. You ain't talking about somebody who doesn't have the heart. You know what I'm saying? You ain't talking about a bum. You're talking about somebody who's willing to throw it all on the line, do or die, go in there, kill or be killed. Kill or be killed, period. That is the mentality, whether you like it or not. Black media don't have to sit up here wholeheartedly agree with everything that goes on in boxing for every black fighter, because the black fan doesn't do that for the black fighter, period. The black fan doesn't sit up here and collectively support your black fighter, when he's going in there against Tyson Fury, and you hear all the chants on our home soil for Deontay Wilder because he's the American champ. No, you all are cheering. Y'all want to hear them sing Sweet Caroline and boo the American champ, but y'all cheer Tyson Fury because he came in with a king, attire on, and he was chauffeured into the arena. Even when he came in there with Apollo Creed, freaking red, white, and blue in the Staples Center, people was booing Deontay Wilder then. So why the hell are you all jumping on here talking about, worried about who's calling him a bum? The people who's been calling him a bum has been saying the same thing over and over again for the test of time, y'all. Don't come up here trying to make it, oh, this is time to make it about black on black. Oh, I can't believe how people are switching up. They ain't switching up. They've been doing this the entire time. They ain't never supported the champ. Go back to Anthony Joshua. When he was in negotiation with Anthony Joshua 2018, and when Anthony Joshua had the unified titles, what happened? They were saying Deontay Wilder need to just accept the 12 million flat fee, right? They saying that's what he deserved. Stay your ass in your place, accept what they give you. It was pretty much say, accept what they give you. You ain't earned anything more than that. But if Deontay Wilder never advocates to make more money, how the fuck is he gonna ever make more money? If you're gonna sit up here and be accepting and placate to any little bits of pennies that they're willing to give you, then guess what? Don't be mad when it comes time for you to negotiate for the next fight, the big fight, and they looking at you like you're a joke. They say you just took 12 million flat fee for Anthony Joshua. That's it. Then people sitting up here, oh, Deontay, he classless. Why you gonna call somebody ignorant and classless? Because the way they talk. Alabama, country Alabama. Why are you gonna say they're classless? Because of what they say. He said the bronze bomber want to catch a body. Did he catch a body? Did Arthur Spilker wake up? I mean, has he been the only fighter in the sport of boxing to talk shit? No, right? So 15 come up, and then 50 million come up. Anthony Joshua turns it down. But the entire time you see on social media, you see these people up here criticizing the bronze bomber for ducking a fighter like Anthony Joshua, who's extremely overrated, in my opinion. I've said it before. He goes in there against a fighter selectively chosen in Andy Ruiz and get destroyed. He get destroyed. Did you see Deontay Wilder spitting out his mouthpiece? Did you see him looking for a way out? Did you see him looking freaking bewildered and puzzled when he was in the heat of fucking battle? You didn't see that, right? But you saw Joshua looking around to his corner. The only time Deontay Wilder went to his corner when the fight was over, and he's asking Mark Breland, Wilder, what's going on? Why are you throwing the towel, man? Let me go out on my shield. Let me do this, man. But y'all sitting up here calling this man a bum and complaining why people calling him a bum. Those same people that's saying that wasn't on his side to begin with. Fuck everything else you heard. They wasn't on his side to begin with. Y'all boxing fans, y'all better than this. I expect this from mixed martial arts fans because mixed martial arts fans, they a bit more loyal to their fan base, and they so much coddle. They babysit. They caress their fighters, ego, and let them know we got your back. Boxing will turn on you at the blink of an eye. Boxing is an imperfect sport. You should understand that. Real talk. Mississippi King say, "What up, brother? Got lost, but I'm still riding with Deontay Wilder to this day." The feminist Wilder got exposed for the paper champ he is, the sport of boxing. If you consider him to be a paper champ, that's you. I'm not here to argue with people who believe that me, since I'm up here voicing myself on my platform, that you're gonna disrupt any type of energy I got going on saying he's a paper champ. Okay, whatever you want to say. If you're gonna say anything about paper, then guess what? You need to go across the board and find out, do a little bit more research on other champions who have reigned for a short period of time, much less than Deontay Wilder, and then possibly regained the title, or they was just one-time champions, just one-time champions. 24. You right, been waiting for him to lose. Still bomb squad. He just got dust off and come back later. Michael said, sad but true. 10 title defenses. Bob J said, disgusting Americans. We ride together, we die together, bad boys for life. Wilder will always have support to be champion. Big John, Mississippi said, Big John Fury dad on Good Morning Britain's this morning said Fury need to retire. Just seen the show. I still support Wilder. Hopefully this fight will make him polish his game up. And Hasim Rothman. If you talking about Lennox Lewis, yeah, I did mention Hasim Rothman, right? You know, because when you look at, you know, Lennox Lewis heading in there for that fight against Oliver McCall and being stopped in 2 rounds, that was in brutal fashion. You look at the knockout that happened with Hasim Rothman, brutal fashion. But Lennox Lewis demanded a rematch. Lennox Lewis demanded it. And the reason why I'm bringing up Lennox Lewis, because they're in the same division. And also when I see Lennox Lewis in person, I always see people running up to the same guy who got knocked out in round 2 and round 5. They still going up there. And the man's record 41-2. 41-2. Deontay Wilder's record is 42-1-1. 41 knockouts. And all of a sudden, people on here crying, talking about, oh, funny how people switch up. It ain't funny. It's been that way for quite some time. The ones that wasn't on his side, they still ain't on his side. They just basically jumping on the current. They riding the wave. They being funny, trolling, being freaking vindictive, spiteful. And all they want to do is spew vitriol on here in social media to piss people off. I'm not upset. I'm just giving a clear understanding as to my own people. Don't sit up here and quickly point the finger at black people for a black fighter that just lost the title when a lot of his own black people wasn't supporting him to begin with. I always say fighters don't owe media shit, right? They don't owe us anything. But if you got a media personnel that's really genuine trying to cover a fighter in his greatest moment, we may not have been around when they was on the rise, but we have the opportunity to cover one of the greatest American champs of this era that was on top and that was winning. He's still on top. Deontay Wilder has to come back. Deontay Wilder has to come back for the rematch. Period. You know why? Because Tyson Fury did not take the rematch immediately. And it was a point to be made that he was concussed and he didn't feel comfortable enough to take the rematch. So he came back this past weekend after being in training camp long enough, tuning himself up. He had basically more time than Deontay Wilder has. If Deontay Wilder takes this rematch, gets back in training camp, he has to return back to the battlefield. Lennox Lewis did it. Vander Holyfield did it. Deontay Wilder has to come back to the battlefront and prove that he can get his title back, period. In the meanwhile, my people, you have a lot more to talk about than pointing the finger at the black fans that's not supporting the black champ on social media. Those individuals on social media that's not supporting Deontay Wilder, they've been around forever and a day. They've been around doing his title reign. They've been around since 2015 when he actually started winning with the belt. You know what I'm saying? They've been around this entire time. You go from Bermane Stiverne, who he rematched, destroyed, all the way up to when he faced Tyson Fury, the second man to go the distance with Deontay Wilder, right? And you get Lennox Lewis, who I see people running up to all the time in public, and you get him in there, and people are running up to a guy who got stopped twice in his losses, twice. And they want to get an autograph with him. Oh, that's the legend Lennox Lewis. You know why you do it? Because he's dual citizenship. Period. Canadian Brit. He's black like us. But since he's associated with a neighboring country, he gets the pass, he gets the love. But yet, if you're from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, country strong, and you go in there and lose for the first freaking time, you get people on here not encouraging, hey, champ, come back to the freaking sport. We still here for when you return. It's a lot that has to be done, y'all. First of all, it's no how, no way we should allow a neighboring fighter to come into an arena on our home soil just because he's saying he want to be a global superstar. Come in there and the boos for the American champ, when he's walking in solo by himself, the boos is all you hear. What? You're trying to tell me it wasn't enough Americans in there to cheer on Deontay as he stepped over the top rope? But yet Tyson Fury comes in with a king's robe on, and y'all letting the gypsies, the European fans, cheer. And y'all getting on social media talking this bullshit, pointing the finger. Man, don't come over this way. Don't come over my way with that nonsense. I don't have any time today, next week, or next month to entertain this finger pointing that goes on amongst my own people, talking about you ain't supporting. Let me tell you another true fact about this shit that goes on in boxing, right? Let me tell you another one that goes on in boxing. If you got a black fan that truly supports a black fighter, and we genuinely we're motivated to go out there. I'm talking about me. We want to go out there. You have these same grimy, petty type of dudes that'll sit up here and call you a clout chaser, that'll call a grown-ass man a dick rider, that call a grown-ass man an ass kisser when he's out there motivated. You're talking about somebody who did 20 years in the military that was currying top secret messages to the Pentagon as a teenager. And you get certain fighters too that'll say, oh man, he clout chasing. He's this. But I'm black media. I'm supporting black fighters, right? I'm supporting all types, white, Mexican, I'm supporting. But this specific black fighter, I get called a clout chaser by my people. I get called a dick rider by my people. A grown-ass man, 50 years old, I'm being called for my motivation to cover greatness. That's what we do to each other. Man, get the fuck out of here with that. Get the fuck out of here. If you can't sit out here and drown out a group of UK people at the MGM Grand and let them know that you on American soil for your American champion that's had the title for over 5 years, undefeated, 42-1, 42 with one draw at the time, with 41 knockouts. You cannot drown out European fans in the biggest boxing match in history, but you can get on here and media can sit up here and say, well, you know what? Check this out. I don't know. The way Tyson Fury shoved Deontay Wilder, I'm kind of leaning towards Tyson Fury. He looked a little stronger than Deontay Wilder. He's looking this. You know what that's called? That's called nut riding. That right there is called nut riding. That's called fence riding. That's called every type of riding that you sit up here and criticize people for. Believe that shit. Don't sit up here and point the finger at your own people. Black fighters, don't point the finger at black media that supports you, but yet you turn around and say, who is that dude right there? What is it? He trying so close, he trying so hard to get an interview. You know, what is going on with that? What's up with that? He clout chasing. How? People come from all walks of life. Boxing is an open-ended sport. It allows you to come in with no prior prerequisites, right? It allows you to be remediated. If you're gonna say somebody in the military is taking orders and they freaking think they better, you're far from the truth, because we don't ask for shit. But if we up here being motivated to cover something, black media, and we're trying to cover the fighters in general, but just so happen the heavyweight division has always been in the forefront of divisions, right? You get to a point where you're seeing a black American heavyweight champion at the forefront, at the top tier of boxing, and we have the opportunity to be in his presence. We're not in the gym with him. We're not in the gym with him, with Deontay Wilder. So when he's out the gym, splitting the ropes, and you hear boos on a PPV telecast, and you jump your punk ass on social media the next day and talking about, oh, wow, well, why are y'all switching up? Why are y'all doing this on Deontay? Boy, let this shit go, man. Don't worry about what everybody's saying, because the criticism was evident before he lost the title. Stephen A. Smith, when he invited Anthony Joshua on ESPN, Stephen A. Smith said Anthony Joshua was the best heavyweight. Did y'all jump on ESPN and criticize Stephen A. Smith? Did y'all criticize him for saying Anthony Joshua was the best heavyweight? Real talk. Because I didn't hear it. I didn't hear y'all jumping on Stephen A. Smith. I didn't hear y'all jumping on all the other freaking critics. Teddy Atlas. Like I've mentioned before, Teddy Atlas on a Luis Ortiz fight that just happened. He's saying Deontay Wilder flaws are showing. And then the knockout happened the very next round. I didn't see you all hitting Teddy Atlas in his inbox and saying, Teddy, you was dead ass wrong. But finally, Deontay Wilder, who has said, I want to challenge Bermane Stiverne because he went the distance, shut him down. I want to go back and rematch Luis Ortiz because he stunned me in the 7th round for 41 seconds. I want to return to right that wrong. He did in 7 rounds. And then we come back for a draw at the Staples Center where Deontay Wilder was getting booed. We return back to the MGM Grand on PPV. And what do we hear? We hear boos, 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 boos. That's what we hear from the American champion who's defending his title for the 11th time. Shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear that bullshit, man. Man, y'all so hypocritical. I don't want to hear no black fight fans, period, criticizing other black fight fans for their criticism of Deontay Wilder. Because those same fight fans, y'all need to understand if they was on board to begin with or they wasn't on board. Either way it goes, you're going to have the good, you're going to have the bad. You got to take constructive criticism. In the military, we take constructive criticism, boot camp, and then we make our way up through the ranks. Boxing, same way. The regional level is a dirty, grimy, gully type of sport on the regional level of boxing. These fighters go through bullshit you would never imagine. A-side, B-side type shit. Going in there, getting wins on opponents that's straight off the street. That's fact. You have people that ain't getting paid on the regional level sometime. You have fighters that has to find training camps, has to find a stable team that's willing to support them and rise to the top. You got to have that shit. Boxing is a grimy ass sport. So when these fighters finally make it up to the point where they can be seen, right? They don't put in so much freaking effort before to their attitude. Some of the attitudes are like, shit, from whatever I went through, man, they don't know the half of my struggle. I came from the bottom. I've been through the grind. I've been on the street. I slept in the cars. This is where I'm at. This is why I don't have time for the bullshit. And then when they get even higher, they get that first championship belt. Then you have people looking at you like, oh shit, I want to goddamn be on their team now. He a champion. Let me try to support him. I promise you this. Look back at my first every YouTube video and the time I actually started doing interviews. Just do your math. Because I'm respectful, the fighters don't make me a kiss ass, right? It doesn't. And I don't get all Google-eyed. In a short period of time, I've been around the spectrum with boxing and had the opportunity to meet some great people. You know, some of my first interviews was James Toney. Shout out to Lights Out. Joshua Greer Jr. Shout out to them fools for doing it big, showing love. James Toney, man. Joshua Greer Jr., the first professional fighter that ever give World Combat Sports a shout out. Dudes that don't care. They know what it's like. But yet, we have individuals in this sensitive world we live in, right? That's going to allow yourself to be overtaken with booze. And you can't do shit about it, but yet we can congregate in a football game, basketball game, and cheer for a team as loud as we can. But when it comes to boxing, you got a person that's been reigning for half a decade, and your punk ass can't sit up here and drown out neighboring fans and cheer for your American heavyweight champion. And you want to get on social media and press keys? You sound stupid. Take your ass and disable your keyboard. Nobody got time for this damn hypocrite shit you're dealing with. It's hypocrisy to the biggest. And that's the reason, only reason I'm coming in here. And I'm telling you straight down this goddamn middle. You full of shit. Believe that. You trying to tell me as many people, many boxing fans, many media outlets that we have in America, and we have American champion, and we have American champions in down the family tree in boxing, down the rank structure, the divisional structure. We have it, but we're talking about the heavyweight championship. We're talking about the biggest fight that we was all waiting on. Deontay Wilder to rematch Tyson Fury, because they said he lost. Some said he won. Now it's the opportunity for us to show up and show out, right? And what you do, you allowed your champion to walk in the ring with a different type of outfit on. You know, represent as always, battle guard. For him to go over the top rope as always. And you allowed him to be booed. American fight fans, you allowed Deontay Wilder to understand why in a lot of cases he don't give a fuck about a lot of damn media or whatever. But let me tell you a fact though. Let me tell you something I know. Let me tell you. I've seen him on the regional level give interview after interview after interview. I've seen him on multiple occasions talk to his fans. I've seen it for my own self. World champion heavyweight. I've seen him talk to fans and do bomb squad over and over again and talk to these kids and give interviews. And then to see him step over the rope in Staples Center and get booed when he's across from Tyson Fury. And then we have American fans that's so freaking fragile and confused as to, there's no way that I'm cheering for Deontay Wilder when Tyson Fury, he's a much more funnier guy. The same guy who was freaking out of the sport, strung out on drugs. He popped for pads. He had his title stripped and never had a goddamn defense in his boxing career. And y'all sitting up here cheering this man because he came back with a mental illness freaking storyline with a good PR team. And he stepped in here and y'all let him convolute your American heavyweight champion when he never defended a freaking title once. He never defended the title once. And y'all punk ass sit up here and say, well, guess what? We're going to boo his ass. We're going to let the damn European fans come in here from the UK, the gypsies and everybody else and boo him again. And we ain't going to do shit about it. Y'all didn't give that man a chance to feel good about the presence that he was in. Y'all didn't give him a chance. He walked at the MGM Grand on the biggest stage ever in this freaking history and fight. He's been fighting the top tier competition saying, I want that get back. You got to give it to me. I want that get back. I did it for Stavern. I did it for Luis Ortiz. I'm going back the right to wrong for the controversy with Tyson Fury. He got blitzed. It wasn't like he wasn't trying to throw a jab. His flaws was exposed. Tyson Fury had the better game plan. He had the better boxing skill set. He executed well. And guess what? He won the fight. He knocked Deontay down in third and fifth round. Facts. It's public freaking record, y'all. It's public freaking record. He was the better fighter that night. Deontay Wilder did not quit. Bloodied, bruised, battered, blitzed, blazed, however you want to call it. Deontay Wilder was still contending the best he could in the freaking square. Did he have some areas of improvement? Absolutely, he did. Deontay Wilder had areas of improvement, especially with getting off combinations on the inside, switching up the game plan, not allowing Tyson Fury to push him back. Hands down, point blank, period. We've seen it for our own. But what's disgraceful, though? What's disgraceful? What is absolutely distasteful? What is freaking the worst thing that can happen in our home soil, the land of the free, when we're supposed to be the strongest freaking country there is to allow boxing to be taken over by a neighboring country, and they laugh at you. They laugh at you. They point the finger at your ass, and they say you ain't shit because you ain't support your own freaking champion. But now Tyson Fury is the champion. Everybody's gonna be on social media talking how much Deontay Wilder is a bum and he didn't do shit. And then Tyson Fury, I gotta get a picture with Tyson Fury. I got to. That is such bullshit on all levels. And I'm not going to use the cliche, you should be ashamed of yourself, because you already know what shame is. You know what? I'm talking to grown adults right now. You should already know what shame is. Whatever. You should already know. Period. It's disgraceful, man. It's just malicious. No ifs, ands, or buts on how you look at it. It's malicious, man. Michael Lewis say, remember that Lennox Lewis got knocked out by Rothman because he too would back up in straight lines. Lennox would cross his legs when he was backing up to make two knockouts a simple matter. Good point, man. Good point. Honestly, black folks just salty because Fury did look so dominant, and the whole licking his blood was just a bit extra. All the more reason to get in the gym and get it together. And Tyson Fury licking, showing that he's a savage. Tyson Fury is a wild type of dude. You know what I'm saying? In his own way. For him to sit up there and want to taste the blood of Deontay Wilder, he's telling you, man, I'm savage, man. I don't care. I don't give a fuck about a lot of shit. He's making a mockery of the American heavyweight champion in the time of battle. He was trying to make a mockery of it. He was trying to lick the man's blood. That's not the first time it happened. You see fighters licking their gloves all the time. But Tyson Fury felt so good in his ring entrance, the people was cheering him. And then once he stepped in the ring, it's not a point in time when he started the fight that he felt like he was behind enemy lines. I say that shit again, being a combat vet. He never once felt that he was behind enemy lines. You know why? Because we had Americans sitting in there all nice and smug, not even cheering for Deontay Wilder, because they don't have no fucking confidence. Y'all don't have no goddamn confidence. Y'all was afraid because Deontay Wilder don't even freaking fit the nomenclature of a perfect boxer. But yet, if he had just the right hand, goddamn it, that right hand been good for 42 times. I tell you that shit. That right hand been on time like a brand new rollie. That right hand has did some damage before, right? Y'all sitting over there scared to cheer for your champ. It's not a black and white thing. He's American freaking champ. And y'all sitting over there. I don't know, man. It's so many European fighters here. This is a different environment for us. It ain't no different than anywhere else. It wasn't no different than him fighting Dominique Breazeale at the Barclays when he closed his ass out in just over 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Y'all was cheering then. Believe me when I tell you, I was there. Black people was cheering for Deontay when he was in there with Dominique Breazeale. Black people was cheering for him when he was in there with Bermain Stavern. Black people was cheering for Deontay Wilder when he was in there with Gerald Washington. He was cheering for Deontay Wilder when he met Luis Ortiz twice. Where were you at when he faced Tyson Fury at the Staples Center in California? Is California located in Mexico? Is there a freaking language barrier in California? Because when he came in with that red, white, and blue and the top hat on, y'all was booing him. Y'all was booing that shit again. What the fuck was going on? Well, I mean, y'all couldn't cheer for the American champ, and then he gets in here at the MGM Grand with all the co-promotions, PBC, Top Rank, Showtime, Fox, all the ESPN. And y'all tear this man down because his ears are already, the audible's there. The audible's there for the American champ, right? And all he hears, boo, boo. How is that possible? How is that possible? Tell me how that shit possible. Tell me how you can fathom him coming over here in a neighboring country. He's basically in our territory, Tyson Fury. He's saying, I want to be a global star. So he comes over here and put on this mental illness. Everybody pat his back and shit. But yet, when he opened his mouth, he's calling every fighter a bum and a dosser. He's a cunt. All these freaking slang derogatory terms, right? That's highly offensive. And y'all laugh at that shit. But Deontay Wilder say, the bronze bomber want to catch a body. And y'all sit up here and act like the man just said he want to commit murder. He didn't even say Deontay Wilder. It's not like he didn't have respect for the sport. You're talking about an Olympian. So you want to praise one Olympian. You want to praise Vasily Lomachenko for being a double gold medalist, right? You want to praise him. But you don't say anything about Rigondeaux. You don't say too much about Carissa Shields. You want to keep so-and-so at the top of pound for pound list. But Deontay Wilder, with limited amateur pedigree, came in the sport of boxing and earned a bronze medal on the Olympic stage, and then went on to defend his title 10 times. Stepped in there for the 11th time in Vegas, and he didn't get it done. But I'm talking about the preamble. Here, preamble. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the preamble and the aftermath. The preamble to the fight was booze. So since the preamble was booze in our own backyard to a neighboring fighter like Tyson Fury, I'm going to tell you once again, when you rest your fingers on this keyboard and press enter, and you come up with a thought process of a narrative to put on here that's critical of Deontay Wilder, you're the one fucking up. You're the one sitting up here instigating a process that you never supported in the process. You never supported Deontay Wilder. You instigating because it's fun for you to have that negative energy behind the screen. Period. You couldn't even drown out a group of UK fans that was here, supposed to be in enemy lines, like when you go to Mexico, when you go to Brazil, when the Mexican fans and Filipino fans, they cheer for their fighter, right? Go to a Filipino fight. Go to the Philippines. Go somewhere where it's a Filipino. Go to where it's a Mexican fighter. They cheering. They are freaking cheering. Go to the freaking UK and hear how they cheer for Anthony Joshua. Come on, man. Anthony Joshua, the same shade I am. But as a Brit, he cannot run his Nigerian colors. That's not the way the Brits play it. They make fighters who are fighting up under their Isaac Dog Bay. They make these fighters who are cohabitating or residing under their canopy of their nation's colors, right? Their country's colors. You have to claim the UK colors. So if Anthony Joshua is Nigerian descent with a white mother, but yet he's been in the UK accent, it isn't hard to freaking take up. It isn't hard. It's easy. Anthony Joshua is just like us, but he's over in a different type of pool. But when he comes out, you know why Anthony Joshua is so scared to come to the US? Because they don't know who the fuck he is. They don't know who Anthony Joshua is. The reason why he wants to stay over in the UK, because that's his home. That's his home. They cheer for him. They bring Anthony Joshua out in the white robe with the levitating stages, with the pyrotechnics. They got dang sin. When have you ever seen them do a Deontay Wilder like that? No wonder Anthony Joshua wants to stay over in the UK and fight over there, because they give him the warm welcome. That man comes out, smoke, pyrotechnics on the left and right flank. It's like he's getting a freaking hometown welcoming every time he steps into the freaking ring. They have him go over there to a levitating stage where they have AJ, and they raise him up to exalt in front of all the boxing fans as they cheer him on. But what do we do over here? Really, what do we see happen? The same grimy, dirty, disrespectful shit that we always see in American boxing. That's what we see. We so spoiled. We have so many rotations and different pockets of champions that we see on a daily basis. We pick and choose and be selective of what we know. There's a lot of black fighters in boxing. Cool. But that doesn't mean you have to treat them like they're the minority when it comes to cheering for a fighter, all because of an accent and he's a neighboring fighter. It makes no absolute sense. It's disrespectful. Any way you want to look at it, the shit that you sitting on here in social media and complaining about, the media who was jumping the fence want to sit up here and say, you know what? I got to be right. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm kind of sketchy on Deontay Wilder because he's weighing 231. But since Tyson Fury pushed him so easy, I got to go with Tyson Fury. Mike Tyson say Fury is going to win. Of course, Mike Tyson doesn't like Deontay Wilder because Deontay say, he would have knocked him out back then. That's not my topic of discussion right now. But on this day, Mike Tyson felt a little bit good about himself. But we're talking about a Mike Tyson that went to prison. We're talking about a Mike Tyson who had domestic abuse. We're talking about a Mike Tyson who had a run-in with Teddy Atlas' niece for inappropriate behavior. We're talking about the Mike Tyson that damn near left Evander Holyfield disfigured. No matter if Evander Holyfield was doing headbutts, that's the same Mike Tyson who used to be an absolute savage back in the day. No one wanted to fuck with Mike Tyson, but he wasn't a perfect person. So why would you cheer for Mike Tyson while he was knocking cats out in the first round? But yet you got Deontay Wilder in this era that was on a knockout streak, a defense streak, and you want to boo the man. You want to send him into the ring with a sense of uncertainty about his support that resides outside the ropes. It's bullshit, and you know it. It's fucking bullshit. It's absolutely. There's no other word to describe it. I've been saying this from day one. Wilder can't box. AJ and Fury are the best in the division. AJ isn't the best in the division. Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury is still the best two heavyweights in the sport. AJ is robotic. And just because Andy Ruiz came in there extremely overweight, guess what? That doesn't make AJ regaining his titles the top two in the division. Where were you all? Where were you all when AJ lost his titles? I'll tell you where you are. You was sitting your ass in a closet because you was scared to get on social media because you don't know shit about boxing. You was scared to sit up here and talk about what's obvious. AJ, look up my lies. I always said AJ was an overrated fighter. Now he wants to sit up here and say, I want to fight Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury this weekend fighting AJ will watch him like a dirty Toyota Corolla. AJ is a quitter. Wilder just lost difficult, in which he surrendered 40 pounds to Fury. And let's not mention that Deontay Wilder's been fighting fighters that's much heavier than him his career. He gets no credit for that. And I'm not sitting up here saying, well, guess what? That's his own fault. No, it's just the performance that he put on that he was able to go in there and fight. You know what I'm saying? Fighters that outweighed him and still come out on top. He just came in there this weekend versus a fighter who made the correct changes that benefited him to having a different game plan when he stepped into battle again with the fighter who he knew had the equalizer. The equalizer for Deontay Wilder was the power. But what he was depleted in is enough changes inside, in the heat of the battle, in the eye of the storm, against a very smart, crafty, slick boxer like Tyson Fury. There's no other way to put it. Tyson Fury had the better game plan, the better skill set, and he went in there and did what he had to do. Holding, headlocks, boxing, combinations, active with his hands. You can't blame him for anything except going in there and getting the win. These whatever you are, man. I know you want to come on and have fun. I ain't giving you no love, man. I ain't giving you no shine. You keep on posting these comments. I'll let you slide this time, but you post another dumbass comment, I'm gonna put you on timeout. K-Ron say, yet Fury's second biggest win is against the fraud. And you know there, Tucker, that's another thing how Tyson Fury can come back and face Sefa Safari, Francisco Pianetta. No one knows who in the hell these guys are. Then he faced Deontay Wilder for a draw. Turn around and face Tom Schwartz and freaking Otto Wallen, get cut real bad. Otto Wallen rubs his glove against the cut of Tyson Fury. And Tyson Fury wins the fight, goes over to the WWE without taking an immediate rematch, come back to the square whenever he felt like it, had a longer time to reassess the situation. When his family is even saying they want Tyson Fury not to face Deontay Wilder. But look, the team made the better changes and executed in the ring, and it worked out. So you can't really blame Tyson Fury for what he did. But what is not being talked about is the same fighters that Tyson Fury faced with Deontay Wilder in the middle. Who knows who the heck these guys are? No one knows who they are. We don't have a clue who these guys are. But you want to talk about Luis Ortiz being 65 years old? You want to talk about Dominic Breazeale, who they had prior beef with? He go in there and smash him in one round, then return and face Luis Ortiz again, finish him in the 7th round, the same fighter who had him hurt, and people was up in arms. Yeah. Oh, shit. Damn. We thought Luis Ortiz had Deontay Wilder. Damn. I guess he earned that one. He earned that one because Luis Ortiz had him hurt. Bronze Bomber, he earned that. Get out of here, man. Ohio Run Boxing, what's good with you, man? Salute. Michael Lewis, AJ got his heart taken. You know how you got some people that's talking about AJ's heart. Did he quit? Come on, man. Come on. Did Deontay Wilder quit last night? Hell no. Did he fight? He would have went in there and died, y'all. Deontay Wilder would have went in there and died for what he was in there to fight for. He did not once spit out his mouthpiece. I need more time. He was getting outperformed. Point blank, period. He was getting outperformed. And he was still on his feet. When it comes to Joshua, he has to make sure he has the right referees to stop the fight. I.e., Vladimir Klitschko, Carlos Takam. Yeah, he had to make sure the right referee was there, i.e. Charles Martin, Joseph Parker. Everything had to be just right for Anthony Joshua. But when he was in there with Andy Ruiz, spitting out his mouthpiece, his gum shield, whatever you want to call it, and he was looking around in his corner acting like he don't understand English, he quit. Deontay Wilder didn't quit last night. He got outperformed, outworked. But that doesn't mean he wasn't returning. He wasn't in there digging deep. You know what I'm saying? It's a certain type of mentality you see in alpha males that you know really didn't grow up running with packs. You know, you have these certain individuals that cut from different cloths. And when they make decisions like this and you see them, people want to discredit them for being that masculine alpha male and getting the shit done the way they feel like it. But guess what? If you don't have a contribution in tearing that guy down and you say, damn, they strong mentally and physically, I can't tear him down. So the only way you're going to succeed as a human being is what? You're going to try to put your foot on their neck when you believe they're down. When they're at their lowest moment, you're going to put your foot on their neck and say, you know what? This is what I've been waiting for. Your coward punk ass couldn't do it while he was standing 6'7". You know what I'm saying? But now that he's lost his title, this is when you want to grab your keyboard. Let me grab my keyboard. This is what I've been waiting on. Wow, those home keys look worn out a little bit because this is what I do. I talk shit online. I don't know a motherfucking thing about boxing, but let me grab these home keys right here. Let me crack my knuckles. Woo. Let me see. What can I say about the Bronze Bomber losing his title? First of all, they was booing him when he was walking in the arena. Tucker say not ranked inside the 15 either time of their fights. Let me try to go over here to some of the Facebook people that's over here. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. Smash the like button. I'm cooking this morning. You know, I don't get on here and talk like this all the time. I'm just letting you know I can if I want to. Yeah, I know I done heard people say what they say about media. I don't have to come in here and goddamn, you know, shift gears on your ass every single time. That's not what I have to do, man. At one point in time, I was a general briefer. I used to brief future and current operations, man, before I was even 20 years old in front of the general. I know how to switch it up when I feel like it. But this topic right here, this topic, you have to address those coward ass naysayers that sit up in the shadows and criticize people, and they don't know anything about boxing except what they see on social media. Let me see this thumbnail. Oh, okay. Let me see a couple of freaking Deontay Wilder's fights on YouTube. Oh, man, the windmill. Did you hear the windmill when he knocked out Dominic Brazil? Did you hear the windmill when he knocked out freaking Bermain Stavern? Did you hear it? Have you heard the windmill when he lined up a blind two shot and knocked out Luis Ortiz? No, right? Because at the point in time he was windmilling, it was only when his opponent was in trouble. Williams say it's disgraceful the way we back our champion. I remember when people were patriotic of our boxing champion. Patriotic, that P word, patriotic. If we even came close to having any patriotism, it's no way the European crowd would come close. Watch a football match. I'm talking about the Spanish. I'm talking about soccer. Watch how they cheer their players. Like, we're talking about racism at its finest. You know, people who throwing bananas at players, but they would cheer the team. But the ones who aren't cheering for that particular team, they will get drowned out by the team that's really on their home base, that stay close to home. It's no way that you're going to hear them overshadowing the home base team like we saw here in Vegas. It's outright shameful. Sit your punk ass down and stop complaining about shit that you didn't contribute to in the beginning. You ain't never supported nobody. And you get up here talking about, oh, he's a bum. He never could have fought. He never fought anyway. You never even contribute to the sport of boxing. You don't know nothing about boxing except thumbnails that's floating around the wave on social media. You don't know nothing else. You don't know nothing about the history of the old school fighters up to the new. You don't know shit. But what you do know is your home keys. You do know how to press your thumbs on this goddamn keyboard. You know how to phonetically put shit together into a narrative and put that shit into social media and let it be dispersed and see what type of reaction do. You that type of soft ass individual that don't know nothing about boxing, but you allow your American heavyweight champion to come into an arena and get freaking booed by a group of collective European fans who only came there, who may reside in America, but only came there to support one person, and that was Tyson Fury. And they did a good job with supporting him and freaking elevating the cheering as he walked as he was escorted to the ring, carried to the ring. Tyson Fury was carried to the ring. The man had on a robe with a crown, catering to the crowd, and he was in Deontay's backyard. Williams said, can you believe JD's didn't want to stop the fight? I believe it. I mean, listen, if JD's would have stopped the fight, JD's has instructions. It's not like Deontay's team don't sit up here and talk before the fight. They actually talk, all right? And I'm pretty sure In the 41 seconds, Luis Ortiz was freaking having his way with Deontay Wilder landing those heavy shots. I didn't see anybody near the ring rope about to throw in the towel. I cannot explain to you why Mark Breland threw in the towel. But if JD's is saying that, I don't know why Mark Breland. We have to sit down and talk. And then once again, we got people running. Oh, they're going to fire Mark Breland. He shouldn't have stopped the fight. He shouldn't have stopped the fight. Why did he throw in the towel? I don't know why Mark Breland threw in the towel. Tyson Fury landed a couple of shots. A couple of them bounced off Deontay's glove. But was he in worse trouble than he was with Luis Ortiz? Hell to the no. No way, no shape or form was Deontay Wilder in trouble than he was with Luis Ortiz. I can't tell you why Mark Breland threw in the towel. He's an Olympian, former world champion. Guess what? I'm pretty sure they talked about it. Deontay might have fearsome punch, but you have the skill. You have to have the skill to land it. And that's from SLK 50 TV. You're right, man. You have to have the skill to land it. And also, you have to have the ring IQ and know what time is good. You have to know decision making. What time is good? He said Tyson didn't really make changes except in weight. I kind of disagree. Tyson Fury made changes in pressing the pace. Like he talked about Ben Davison talking about defense. And this fight with Deontay Wilder, you look, Tyson Fury was coming forward and he was still doing that jerky, sporadic feinting, but he was much more within range when he landed. He will wait. Look at the first knockdown. Look at it. He waited till Deontay Wilder, who goes straight back in defense. He waited till he was up against the ropes to come in. Deontay didn't have nowhere to go, and he was able to land that 1-2. Whenever Tyson Fury closed in, what did he do that he didn't do the first time? He leaned on Deontay. He did a lot more dirty tactics this time. It was a couple of shots that was behind the head. Tyson Fury wasn't playing this time. He was in there by all means necessary, y'all. By all means necessary. Tyson Fury was in there to win the championship by all means necessary. If Kenny Bayless was on Tyson Fury's right-hand side, he was freaking headlocking Deontay on the left-hand side. Facts. Michael Lewis said, I'm from Warren, Ohio, and grew up watching Mike Tyson chill and train at the old house in Southern Ohio. I've been studying the politics of boxing with Cesar Chavez, cheated Magic Taylor. I mean, you might be talking about the referee Steele, who cheated Magic Taylor with seconds left. SLK said, facts, he did press it. Michael Lewis said, I never respect Richard Steele since that. That fight changed Richard Steele's career, to be honest. Justin Austin, Ward kept saying Wilder need to get away from the ropes. That's true. Shout out to Justin Austin, Soft Straight Talk, man. That's true. You know, we all see it. If you was really looking at the fight, I tell people all the time, it's a lot of people that tune into the fight, and all they do is watch their fighter who they like. That's the only person they know. Oh, let me watch the fighter that I like. That's the only person I want to watch. If you dare to watch Tyson Fury, the only good you're going to see is what Tyson Fury do. If you dare to go against Deontay Wilder, you're going to watch Tyson Fury. So when are you going to pay attention to what Deontay actually has going on? Deontay Wilder has been known to go straight backward in line. A lot of other fighters have did that. It's up to the sender to make that fighter pay, period. Same thing in mixed martial arts. If you go straight back, you're liable to get you're susceptible to get hit with many strikes. You know what I'm saying? Reverse kick, spinning technique, punches, whatever the case may be. The cage, the rope, same thing. You can't go any further back. You can't do anything. And Tyson Fury seen that. He used his mind, man. He was, you know, good decision making. Tucker say Michael Lewis, this notion that every height weight has better resume than Wilder is absurd. Only other heavyweights with more wins inside the top is AJ, Parker, Povetkin, and Ruiz. Man, you talking about AJ's freaking opponents, and you know they want to say Luis Ortiz and freaking Deontay Wilder. He's too old. We don't know how, you know, how old he really is, his true birth certificate. But yet, Anthony Joshua come up here with a bogus 2-fight Wembley deal, and the first opponent he fight September 22nd, 2018 is who? Alexander Povetkin. How old is Alexander Povetkin on that night? 40 years old, right? Previous repeat offender of PEDS, right? Y'all wasn't criticizing Anthony Joshua for stepping in there with an old fighter who's lost several times over. Y'all was praising him. Oh, he's going to Wembley Stadium. Let's praise. Let's give Anthony Joshua all this damn adulations. But he faced Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz, he ain't nobody. If he wasn't nobody, why hasn't fighters in the heavyweight division outside of Deontay Wilder been at the front door to face Luis Ortiz? Dillian Whyte's. I know recent Dominic Brazil had talked about potentially fighting, but you know, Dillian Whyte is one of the, you know, the pariahs. He's been treated like a pariah in the heavyweight division and possibly getting his moment back in the heavyweight limelight, because when you're a puppet, you get treated as puppets do. When they want to pull your strings to do certain things, that's the direction you're going to go. Dillian Whyte never should have freaking campaigned to fight Deontay Wilder when he know he wasn't even within the proximity to get that fight. And better yet, you should have been campaigning right there in your backyard to go back in there against Anthony Joshua, who has the unified titles. Puppets get treated as puppets do, period. Williams say, no matter what, Wilder will always be my guy. I'll be back no matter what. The ones who's going to support Deontay Wilder will always be there. Tyson Fury cheated. Man came in 50 pounds heavier than Wilder. Another weight class, not really fair fight in my book. Well, I can't say he cheated because, first of all, the heavyweight division, you weigh what you weigh. Jarrell Miller's came in over 300 pounds. Okay? Jarrell Miller went in there against Johan Duhaupas, and he couldn't get it done being over 300 pounds. It doesn't freaking matter. It depends on who you are. It's been fighters that come in there outweighed, you know what I'm saying, and still perform. Deontay Wilder is a perfect example. Deontay Wilder has fought several opponents that outweighed him, and he was victorious. It's just on this fight plan right here with Tyson Fury, it worked out great. Tyson Fury went into the clinch, held. He was leaning on Deontay Wilder. Look at it. He was leaning on him. Trying. I said it on my live before the fight. He was going to try to close distance and lean on him and deplete the energy of Deontay Wilder. So if the fight went past the midway point, Deontay Wilder wouldn't have that energy to shoot that rocket out the pocket. He wanted him to be exhausted. He wanted him to be able to throw that right hand with pretty much minimal damage to it. SLK 50 say he was outboxed, period. Outboxed, underscore, underline, period. He was outboxed. It ain't no way. It's no other way to look at it, people. He was outboxed. So save all the trouble of getting on here, you know, fighters, fans, getting on here talking about how people switching up. If you didn't see what happened in Staples Center, if you didn't see what happened in MGM Grand, and you link them up together as being the same environment, the same air you breathe, what your ears was giving you, negative energy, when Deontay Wilder is fighting on American soil, and guess what? He was getting boos in 2 different damn regional locations. Deontay Wilder was getting boos. So why in the hell you jumping on here wasting time with thumbnails? Talking about Deontay Wilder. Imagine how people switch up. I'll tell you point blank, in all honesty, though we understand we live in a world of judgmental individuals, and then you add on social media layer to that, you have a lot of people that's confident about talking shit behind the screen. You have a lot of people that really haven't did shit in their own life, and this is the only time they feel invigorated. You feel invigorated. You feel entitled when you're behind this screen. You feel good when you're placing your hand on those keyboards and pressing send. But when you're talking about the sport of boxing, unless you don't sit up here and visit some of the lower cards and the grassroots, if you sit up here and understand what these fighters go through, you might be a little bit hesitant to call them a bum. But when I hear Tyson Fury call them tomato cans, bums, I don't see the same protest that I see from fans that are on here saying, imagine how people switch up. Them people switching up on Deontay Wilder. Imagine how quick they switch up. Yeah, they ain't switching up. They was never in the circle rooting Deontay Wilder on anyway. They was the same individuals that was close to the TV to see if he was going to lose. I repeat, those the same individuals that was close to the TV to see if Deontay Wilder was going to not survive the 41 seconds Luis Ortiz was putting on him. They was the same people that was hoping Arthur Spilker continued the punishment and squeaked out a decision with Deontay Wilder. Those was the same people. Believe that shit. Those were the same individuals that was standing in close proximity, talking sidebar conversations, saying, man, I hope Deontay lose. I hope he lose. I hope he lose. They was never there. They was never there to support the champ. How in the fuck do you allow yourself to be outperformed when it comes to cheering your fighter on, walking in the biggest fight of this century? How do you allow yourself to be drowned out? How do you allow yourself to be put in position and let another country come over here? When you're talking about, oh, we live in the best country ever. I mean, let's quote the amendments from top to bottom. Let's talk about the Declaration of Independence. Let's talk about the Second Amendment. Oh, we're such a free country. I love it so much. But yet you always allowing other countries to come in here and show how fragile of a unified country we truly are when it comes to certain sports. And since I'm talking about boxing and I'm boxing media, this is where we at right now on the carpet. We're talking about the individuals that are extremely fake, phony, disingenuous individuals that want to get on social media and act like you supported Deontay Wilder to begin with. You never really even gave a damn about the champ. All you wanted to do is be a part of it because he looked like you and he was winning and he was on top. But then as the fight touched in the third round and Deontay Wilder got dropped, did you once think to do research and see if Tyson Fury ever been dropped in his career? You want to bring up Deontay Wilder being dropped by Romanoff in the AMs. People was posting that shit on here, right? By him being dropped in the AMs by Romanoff, right? I think Romanoff have like what? He's 14-0 right now, something like that. We haven't even heard from him. You think Romanoff would give Deontay Wilder that work right now? Not a chance. We're not looking at who Tyson Fury has faced on his resume. I mean, you really got to take that in consideration if you up here talking shit, right? You got to take that in consideration. I don't never say I'm tired of hearing what I see on here because I've been covering boxing for quite some time. But when it has to be addressed on what I experienced when it comes to showing people, right? Like people are not only judgmental, but they just want to be a part of something. And they'll be a part of something as long as you allow them to be comfortable, you know what I'm saying, and being part-timers. You know what I'm saying? You allow them to pedestrian a situation that they're comfortable with. They don't fully support it, but allow them to be comfortable with being close to a situation, and they'll give you the bullshit every now and then. They'll put some shit on here. Oh, we love the Bronze Bomber. Bomb Squad, put up all the motherfucking emojis. But time he gets in trouble, time he faced adversity in the ring, time he's dressed in his battle garb to walk to the damn ring against an opponent that's not Cuban, that doesn't shade. You know what I'm saying? If he walks in the ring with somebody with the same shade as Deontay Wilder, that's when you want to say, oh, I'm gonna pick and choose Deontay Wilder. Yeah, he's going in there against Romain Stavern. I'll pick Deontay. Let me juggle this. Let me pick Deontay. Luis Ortiz, Cuban fighter. Let me pick Deontay because we don't know. No, I'm better yet. Let me pick Luis Ortiz because he's undefeated. He's the better boxer, southpaw. He has the better footwork. All facts. And he still couldn't get it done. Luis still couldn't get it done. But Tyson Fury had the correct game plan to come back and rematch the champ. And he got it done. He outboxed Deontay Wilder. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. I could care less. I'll listen to a point if you got some boxing facts. But check this out. You might want to goddamn tag back on Lennox Lewis when he first picked up the title on his bout with Tony Tucker. You might want to think about when he first stepped in there with Oliver McCall in '94. When Oliver McCall was able to stop Lennox Lewis in 2 rounds. You might want to think back on that when he stepped in there with Hasim Rothman in 2001 and got stopped in 5 rounds. And then he rematched in November of 2001 and gained his titles back. You might want to think about the same individuals who you saying a legend, 41-2, that both his losses are knockouts. And I dare you to call him a bum to his face. Because you know what? Lennox Lewis is about that. Lennox Lewis, you call him a bum to his face. He ain't the one that's walking around with a whole lot of security all the time. That's what I kind of like that about Lennox Lewis. You know, like he'll either give you an interview or he won't. If he fucking with you or he not. He'll let you know just by looking at you. And that's all you need. But don't get it twisted. His 2 losses are knockout. Deontay's stoppage from his corner while he was on his feet. So how can he be a bum? The way he looked, he got outworked, outperformed. It's up to Deontay to go back to the gym with him and his team, reassess the situation, come up with a different plan, and return to the heat of battle. That's it. That's all you have to say. That's up to Deontay Wilder to redeem himself. Retribution. Go back, right to wrong, just like Anthony Joshua did. Anthony Joshua looked terrible against Andy Ruiz. Terrible. When the referee asking you, Anthony Joshua, let me back up a little bit. Because I remember being on a certain certain group where they was trying to get everybody to support Anthony Joshua, right? When I was up there saying he was overrated, and then these punk ass admins, right? They want to then try to gang up on somebody who actually know how to talk boxing enough to the point of doing his research. And they was all up there saying for Anthony Joshua, how good he was. He's an Olympian, how he's able to earn the titles in so many fights. But then when he faced Andy Ruiz and looked bad, he once again, his gum shield is on the floor, right? So did you not look at some of his other fights? Him doing the same thing? Did you not see in Joseph Parker when he ripped the tape off because he was exhausted? Did you not know the man has cardio problems? The man will find a way out to take a breath, and they just let him do it. Did you see that shit? Did you see in the Vladimir Klitschko fight the same thing? Did you see it? But yet you up here, Andy Ruiz dogged this man, took his titles, and those same Anthony Joshua fans, I didn't hear you anywhere. I didn't see you. I didn't hear you. I didn't see anything on social media where you was like, Anthony Joshua, he's still the best heavyweight. Regardless, he got dusted, he got washed. I didn't hear y'all saying Anthony Joshua was a bum. We're talking about 2 Olympians. Deontay Wilder's Olympian, Anthony Joshua was Olympian. Oh, my fault. Let me frame this narrative again. Let me frame it. For those of you that don't know shit about boxing, the casuals. Anthony Joshua's fight, what Olympics was he in? Did you see the final bout where he won the gold medal? Did you do your homework? Have you looked at that fight? You come back to me and drop comments and let me know, did Anthony Joshua truly win the gold medal fairly by points? When you have Roy Jones, Mayweather, and everybody else that got jacked out of freaking Olympics, did you see the fight that Anthony Joshua fought for in the gold medal standing? Did you see the one before that? You tell me why Anthony Joshua lost his titles. You wasn't calling him a bum. You want to talk about he's a gold medal Olympian. He'll be back. He's good. But then when Deontay Wilder, a bronze medalist, held the title for over 5 years, rematch, the only man to go the distance with him at that time, going to his 11th defense in the company of Ali and others. You're going to call this man a bum? Don't support boxing no more. You know what? Boxing has enough negative people in it already. And that goes for some of the fighters too. The fighters, they in here and they're in the sport to make a living. It's a tough ass sport with no retirement plan. So if you look at the way they act and then the way these entitled fans act that don't really support the fighters full time, then you can understand why there's conflict of interest, a lack of support when it comes to boxing. Boxing should be the grand sport. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you why boxing is wild. I'm going to tell you. I mean, I've been all around the world in dojos and everything and seeing many places where people are teaching the sport of boxing, Muay Thai, kickboxing, different type of martial arts, wrestling, all this crap, right? I'm going to tell you why boxing has so many moving parts where people are making money. And boxing is $1 billion business. Period. But look around you at what the UFC is doing. The UFC monetized its brand quickly, and they're building up all around the boxing. And what the UFC is doing is basically allowing boxers to come to the UFC facilities and work on boxing if they want to. They're making these big, huge facilities with dormitories on there to sleep. Of course, it costs a certain stipend, but they're allowing boxers to be able to have that welcoming, to come in there and learn with a boxing coach in a UFC facility. How long has boxing been around? Why don't we see huge boxing facilities around the world so we can have boxers come over here and stay in the dormitory and learn the sport, have a nutritionist on deck to feed these guys, and when it comes time for them to fight, and they can give a portion of the purse back to the people who prepared food and allowed them shelter. So when you know that doesn't exist, don't feel too bad when you have fighters that's done low crawled. They don't struggle. They've been in the gutter, the trenches, and they finally make it to Showtime, Fox, ESPN. They finally freaking make it. You know why they got such a bad attitude? Because they done been through the bottom, man. And didn't nobody give a fuck about them when they were struggling, trying to make it to the top. And now they at the top. People act like they still owe them something. They don't want to give them no support. They don't say shit but negative damn criticism. It ain't constructive. It's just negative. Not until you reach that high point. Only if you accept it by the audience, they would say, you know what? I like Mayweather. I like Mayweather. I like I like Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? I like how he go in there and box. I like it. So if you can like Mayweather, that means you can like somebody else. You know what I'm saying? If you can like Floyd Mayweather and talk about him all the time, you can like somebody else. And then you have to look at the perspective like Mayweather, he's fighting Conor McGregor, who's 0-0. But Mayweather, he's TBE, right? But he's bringing over a mixed martial artist that's a 2-division champion in the featherweight and lightweight division. He's bringing him over to the boxing ring and charging $100 to PPV. That's savage, right? We're talking about the same Mayweather who went to prison for domestic violence, right? Deontay Wilder ain't been to prison for domestic violence. Mayweather has. So he bring old Conor McGregor, charge $100 to the fans, make millions, and he breaks a record. I mean, with a fighter with no professional boxing experience. You know what I'm saying? Conor McGregor did have amateur pedigree in the Ireland spectrum, but not too much outside of that. I mean, come on, get in your lane, man. Who are you going to support? Where are you at with this? Tighten up. Like, what you doing? If boxing is an annual sport and it's been around the longest, then why isn't there much more unity to this particular sport? Why is everybody cutthroat? Why everybody believes the plate is not big enough for people to eat? It's petty as shit. KZ said white people will support their white celebrities. But when it comes to black celebrities, rarely see his or her people support him or her. William, the people in the country have forgotten how to patriotic and support the fighters. We shouldn't be supporting fighters from other countries against our own. Look, me being in the military, meeting different freaking soldiers from different countries, especially in combat, setting up freaking communication in really enemy territory with some allies that probably used to be enemies, but long story short, we come over there to train the forces, and hopefully they are disciplined enough to understand what our effort is and don't betray us. So it's a win-lose situation. Some of them do, some of them don't. But anyway, you meet these individuals and you try to help them out. You know what I'm saying? You don't go in there with the mindset to say, you know what, we're in your country right now, we're in a war, and I'm gonna treat you like that. So with boxing, I look at it like you don't necessarily have to cheer for the American fighter in every freaking matchup if the fighter is from a different country. Like one of the fighters that fought, Emmanuel Navarrete, he's not black. He's an exciting fighter. Very exciting. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's exciting to watch. He's not black though. It should get to a point where we can say, okay, we can support a fighter when it becomes to do two different countries. Tyson Fury, no matter how many times he stay over here in America, he's not from here. So if you take a fighter that was born from the bottom on the countryside of the freaking American soil, and he has raised himself up to fight for a cause of his daughter having spina bifida, he has a backstory. Tyson Fury's return story is mental illness. Deontay Wilder's starting point was to do it for his daughter for spina bifida. All right. So he had a legitimate cause to go up here and fight in a tough sport, and then had limited amateur experience to go up here and win a bronze medal. But yet it isn't enough for our people to say, you know what, he's a U.S. citizen, Tyson Fury over from the UK. We should be cheering on Deontay Wilder, hands down, point blank, period. And it's a travesty that it worked out the way it did. But I just had to, get on here and address the issue because it's cowardness, really. It's hypocrisy, all that shit. That's what it is. I was sick of watching the weigh and listen to everyone cheering Fury, no one cheering Wilder. It affected Wilder. Look at his face. Hey, that's true words, William. That's true words. Let me read that again. He said he was sick of watching the weigh-in, listening to everyone cheer for Fury. No one was cheering for Wilder. No one. And I'm glad, that I was told not to go over there to that. I was happy in the end because it was convoluted with UK fans, and they was going to cater to the UK media. That's exactly what happened. I'm not cutting any corners. They was catering to the UK media to make this all about Tyson Fury. Period. There's no other way to slice it except that. KG say, I agree, Will. Clearly a race thing. Michael Lewis, very true. And people don't want to talk about it being, racial tensions in boxing. It's always going to be that way. Always. It's always going to be that way. But in this particular circumstance, why are all of you all that have seen Deontay Wilder fight before, why are you unable to cheer for the man? Why? William said, thank you for your service. My father was World War II Navy man. Salute, man. Thank him for his service. Salute. Semper Fi. KG said, if Canelo Alvarez was in there first Fury, they both would have gotten cheered. You ain't never lied. He said Canelo Alvarez in there facing Fury, they both would have got cheered. You ain't never lied. You're talking about Canelo Alvarez that popped fucking clenbuterol, right? Right? Okay. So Deontay Wilder, what did he pop for already? I mean, I'm serious. What did Deontay Wilder pop for already? How long has he been suspended? When has Deontay been stripped of the title? I'm just curious. I need some validation here. I need for you all to kind of co-sign me on this. I need to know when he popped for Pez. I need to know how long he was suspended, when he returned to the sport. I just need to know that. I just need to know when he actually stepped inside the system whether it be jail or federal prison, for any type of offense while he was in boxing. I just need to know those little intricate crumbs right there so I can put it on my plate. So when I'm talking about Deontay Wilder and I'm cooking, I just want to make sure I grab hold of those crumbs and say, listen, why people call Deontay Wilder classless, it's because of this right here, this right here, this right here. Look what he's been accused of. I want to know when he popped dirty. You know what I'm saying? We already seen the fighters who has. It's so many fighters out there that has popped dirty. Not Deontay Wilder. It's so many fighters out here that have been a part of the street, part of the system. Not Deontay Wilder. But yet y'all don't cheer for him. If the man would have been a U.S. Marine and served 4 years, y'all wouldn't give a fuck about it. If he would have served in the U.S. military and continue to sit up here and hand out and support the veterans, y'all wouldn't have gave a fuck about it. It goes back to Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson was in a racial tension era back then. And Jack Johnson, in a sense, had to go somewhere else to freaking reign as champion because his own people. Well, Jack Johnson liked to date white women too. And back then, that was a no-no. KZ said, even in the amateur boxing, there was a fight, KSI versus Logan Paul. Logan Paul, the U.S. guy, versus KSI, the U.K. guy. And they fought in both countries. Both times, Logan Paul has gotten cheers more than KSI. Well, KSI and Logan Paul is a different story, which I can't venture off in them because I give neither one of them respect for being a professional fighter. I do give them respect for their social media game, you know, being social media stars, making it to the top. I will give them credit for that, but that's a whole nother segment. I cannot disrespect the topic of discussion with guys who are YouTubers who Eddie Hearns and them chose to make a penny off of. Well, I'll take that back. He made more than a penny. And people paid to see these guys fight for entertainment. You know what I'm saying? And Logan Paul want to come up here and talk about mathematics and all this other bullshit, trying to question the intelligence of KSI. Isn't that a trend though? Isn't that a trend you hear when they talk about, you know, black people? Sometimes they say how ignorant and how uninformed we are, how uneducated, but you get a guy that has an education, right? And you all know who you are. You fighters know who you are. A fighter to sit up here and have somebody that's had an education, got a college degree. You know, he ain't saying nigga every other sentence, right? And you'll goddamn chastise him. You'll call him a square, right? Right? Isn't that, you know who you are? You know who I done talked to, who I had to pull up on and say, damn, check this out, bro. Why you up here calling somebody that's out the South? Why would you put that in your mouth like that? Because I'm respectful to fighters when I see you in person. What's up with that? That's not even, you know, that's not even energy I need to put into. If you want to talk about boxing, let's talk about boxing. But just because I'm not coming up here filling the narrative, dropping the N-word all the time, doesn't make me any less of a black man than anybody else. Just because I got a damn college degree and a military freaking retirement doesn't make me capable of going out here and working my ass off to cover a fighter. Now, what I do take offense is, like I said earlier, when I'm talking about these fighters that deserve support for who they have earned, I mean, who they've beaten and what they have did to earn their place where they at, don't mistake my motivation and my hard work ethic in covering the sport of boxing as dick riding, ass kissing, clout chasing. Because within the black culture, y'all seem to abuse that terminology a lot. Y'all think somebody trying to get a piece, so y'all don't want to support, but you'll come up here and allow somebody from a different country or whatever, you will babysit the shit out of them. They get all the exclusive interviews, you get everything. But let a black person be hard pressed to show you a work ethic. You know, the same people that get up here, right? As I'm looking into the camera, right? You're the same individuals that will put motivational, inspiring quotes up here And I always used to love, I like using this one. You got to want it as much as you can breathe. When you wake up in the morning, you got to already have your goals in place. You can't hesitate. You got to jump out the bed and hit the road running. And you don't stop running until you see the success. And even during the success, you still keep it moving. You still shift gears because you haven't made it just yet. You only seeing a portion of what your fruits are providing for you due to hard work and labor. You have to want it as much as you can breathe. Haven't you had people say that? Let me ask my dog. Haven't you heard that? Haven't you heard that, baby? You've heard people say you have to want it as much as you want to breathe. But when you get somebody with a background that's been through the freaking dirt, who had to work up through the ranks like they comrades, when military get paid pennies, we work overtime without pay. We work, and we know what it is to earn something, to work on weekends, to be away from our family, deployment, packing up the sea bag, getting on damn big ass planes and flying to another country, being away, missing our kids. And now I want to cover boxing and the civilian pop. And I'm letting these boxers know I got the work ethic. I got the integrity. I want to come up here and cover the sport. That's how much I respect it. You don't hear me calling you bum. And then you want to say, what's that you say again? You want to say somebody clout chasing, ass kissing, and dick riders. And I only heard that from my own people. That's real talk. I only heard that from my own people. My own people. I don't heard people say fuck the military. I don't even sit up here and talk about it. Because I know I serve, but I'm here to serve the community right now, covering boxing and MMA and other combat sports. That's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to sit up here and cater to individuals that want to be negative and say, oh, that nigga clout chasing. How do you figure? How do you figure on clout chasing? I've heard them call other media. If you got black media that's out here trying to cover black fighters, you pro-black, you just trying to cover black fighters. And then when you cover somebody else that's not black, he'll sell out. That motherfucker sell out, y'all. He ain't covering the black fighters. Why he won't cover Terrence Crawford? Why he won't cover Deontay Wilder and everybody else, Shakur Stevenson, Joshua Gray? Why he won't cover them, but he'll cover other fighters? Maybe they perturbed a little bit, agitated, that every time they try to cover a black fighter and give them that exclusive, that attention, maybe in some cases they feel that it's disrespectful to be said that you dick riding, that you ass kissing. You know what I'm saying? They may be exhausted when they can go to another fighter and get the interview, and that fighter, doesn't give off that vibe like you really got to get on your knees and beg and plead to get an interview. At the end of the day, I know fighters go through the motherfucking grind. It's a tough ass sport. They step into the ring to get the damn punishment. I know that. But outside of what we see as people, we need to stop pointing the finger at one another and saying, man, why so-and-so trying to get so close, man? No, we're trying to get close because you need to be in front of the lens, right? So when you step into an arena, more people know about you from your media and more exposure is out there so American fans can support you in the good light, in that positive light. You know what I'm saying? When that halo shine, when you walk into the ring, you hear the people, Wilder, Wilder, Bomb Squad. Any other fighters walk into the freaking ring, money, money, Mayweather, all those people that's damn getting the accolades. So people would know it. That's why Mayweather was so genius. Somehow, some way, Mayweather was able to fight all these Mexican fighters and still make the most money. Now, right now, he's not the most approachable dude with security, and you can't just get an interview with him. But that's the dynamic of putting your brand out there. Times has changed, whatever the case may be. You got fighters like Teofimo Lopez. I'm gonna be honest. Teofimo Lopez, Joshua Greer Jr., some of the most approachable fighters that I've been around. Roy Jones Jr., salute to the legend. Some of the most approachable fighters that you can walk up to and get an interview. That's real. Deontay Wilder. That's real. I'm not. You want an interview? I mean, like Teofimo Lopez, he would give you a freaking interview and he would tell you straight, genuinely from his heart and what he want to talk about. Joshua Greer Jr. will talk. We're talking about somebody who's already made mention and how hard he had it back then, didn't graduate high school. Shakur Stevenson didn't graduate high school. Still, they'll sit up there and give you an interview and talk from the heart on where they at. They ain't gonna walk away and turn their back like some of you. I'm not gonna give you no sign. You know who you are. Some fighters who out here acting complete clown and they're black, they would turn their back on social media and treat you like shit, but yet they'll support another media outlet that's not black, all because of views. And I'll say this to end it, because I think I said what I had to say. I'll say this to end it. If your whole intent is to look on somebody's YouTube as media and say they need 50,000, 60,000, which we know that there are people out here buying views, they're buying subscribers and all that other shit, right? If you believe me walking up to you and showing you the common decency and respect that I have for you and doing an interview and you feel the vibe, you understand that it's genuine, it's real, man versus man, man versus woman, whatever. I respect you for who you are. If you think that is less, then you looking on social media saying, hey, guess what? He barely have any views. So what the fuck were you doing in the 90s when we didn't have this shit popping? What were you doing? How did you get interviews with fighters? You had to go on site, right? You had to talk to them, right? And I'm talking to the fighters too. Don't look on my motherfucking YouTube or IG and say, let me see how many followers he got. How many followers he got? How many subscribers he got? If you want to look at some virtual inaccuracies and you want to gauge your acceptance and permission slip to someone on how many followers and how many subscribers they have to support you as a fighter, then you stupid. You absolutely stupid. Because I would take somebody who I've seen in person and say, you know what? I respect that person. Good people, never had a problem with them, shook hands eye to eye, face to face, and they give interviews. It's genuine people who I've interviewed. I can say, damn, they're good people. You know, my recent interview with Jack Reese, who wasn't there to referee Deontay's fight. He didn't have to give me the interview and sit down with me, but he did. Respect. Bill Clancy, respect. You know what I'm saying? But if you're going to look on my YouTube and engage your communication with me as my likes, I don't give a damn. Go ahead and do that, because I'm just going to keep on walking past you when I see you anyway. If you think, you know, it's not a flawed system where media has to request credentials, and then in certain aspects you want to say, well, you need to get your likes and subscribers up. That's not how it's supposed to work. The action and what you see that particular media outlet on how they're going around moving amongst the boxing is regional or at the highest tier. That's how you should grade their performance. That's what you should say. Because I'm going to tell you, if you're looking at this virtual world that we live in and you're basically saying they need 50 to 60, but when they're live, listen, when we're live and I got 60,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, but yet when I'm live, I only have 300 to 400. I only have 300 to 400 people viewing in, but yet I got 50 to 60,000 subscribers. That ain't telling you that it's inaccurate and improficient, inefficient, however you want to say it, when it comes to covering the sport and covering a fighter. A fighter should never gauge media by how many numbers you see, because it's a lot of people out here faking it till they making it. And you have individuals, fighters out here that will basically look you up on their phone and see who you are. And if you don't have thousands of subscribers popping out at you, they'll say, nah, it ain't wasting my time. It ain't worth my time. Forget it. That's just a little nugget for you. That's just a little freaking pop. But I appreciate everybody who tuned in. I meant what I said. I ain't taking it back. And I ain't changing my freaking title. If you look like me, you shade like me, I'm from the South. There ain't no freaking nothing about me that said I was born in affluency. I came from an abusive household. I can give a damn if my relatives up here looking or not. You ain't gonna do shit about it. I came up from the bottom, went in the Marine Corps at 17 years old, and I low crawled. That shit was tough as hell. So when I went through and I got out, been retired from the Corps for 12 years, and I'm out here showing love to the boxers, and I'm showing you that common decency and respect. Don't treat that shit as if I need something. You know what I'm saying? Y'all quick to say clout chasing, dick riding. 50 years old, dick riding? I'm on the back end of my life. You sound stupid as fuck. Like, what are you talking about? I'm tired of hearing people saying that about media, especially black media from black fighters. Black fighters to black media. Like, what are you fucking talking about if we can't even get together as a unit in America and cheer on our heavyweight champ twice now when he's walking in there competing against a fighter that's not his same skin tone and he gets booed as if he's the damn fighter coming out of the YMCA. You don't find a problem with that? You don't find a problem with focusing your energy on that perspective rather than sitting up here, well, let me check my phone and see how many subscribers and followers this dude got. I don't know shit about it. Do you know anything about this dude? Nah, man. Just World Combat Sports. He don't have that many followers, man, on Twitter. Gives a fuck about Twitter, doc. What are you talking about? Who gives a damn about that? Man, you check his IG. He on the gram, and you check his Facebook. The shit is inaccurate, dog. You have to look at how many people are really tuned in. Your video. If you want to be seen, share the freaking content that you see on YouTube. Get your name out there. No one can say I haven't covered grassroots fighters where the diamonds start to polish themselves up for them to shine on the professional ranks. Grassroots is where it's at. I know some media only cover the big cards, Top Rank, Showtime. That's it, PBC. They don't go down into the grassroots. So that's where they lack the depth of knowledge to know what's actually going on down there. They want to pick up a fighter who's already making it without knowing what they already went through. So I'm just putting that out there. SLK, thank you, Preach. Appreciate it, man. KZ said facts. Since when did the internet subscribers matter over actual talent? Man, you ain't never lied. But that's what we go through as media. That's what we go through as fans and people in boxing. They see people with 60,000 subscribers. Hey man, let me go up here and shake. Let me go ask them for an interview. You know what I'm saying? Let me go ask them for an interview. It's much more than that. What happened in the 90s when you was doing media? What happened in the early 2000s? Like, where did it come to a point where everything is surrounded by social media likes and how you accept a human being instead of shaking their hand and having a dialogue with them to base your own perception? You start off at 100% people of trust and you speak to that person. Then from there, you decrease it. It's easy. You don't come up here and start from 0% and be all judgmental and then say, oh, okay, 5%, 10%. Nope, back down to 7%. Okay, 9%. You treating another human being as if it has to do with likes. You know what I'm saying? Oh, build it up, build it up. You at 49%. You're almost there. Nah, he just did that live the other day. I didn't like the content he was talking about. So you know what? He goes back down at, like 13% with me. Yeah, he gonna have to build that trust with me. That's the kind of world we live in. I ain't tripping. I'm just goddamn telling you what I know, man. Period. So the next time y'all come, bump into me or whatever, Just do a little research on what you complaining about. That's all. Just do a little research. That's all. That's all I'm asking. I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Follow me on all social media networks. It's just some people hit me up about the live, but I appreciate everybody who dropped in. KG says social media is white folks' world. Now the real world is forcing you to enter the world where the racist folks of the internet basically will decide how you turn out in life. Most will not get the intellectual aspect of the game. Good stream, bro. I appreciate all that. Thanks for your input. Much appreciated. Real talk. I know usually I'm on here, I'm just chilling, I'm relaxing. I keep it in neutral. But some people get it twisted, man. When you've been through a lot and you had to perform on the highest stage and you got some maturity, grown man stuff, certain things I don't let bother me. And people want to take that as weakness or, so and so he a square, he clout chasing. Say what you want. When I go to medical, I have health care. I'm grateful for the career I had. Believe me, I ain't clout chasing. I'm just trying to cover greatness, and I treat fighters with respect. It's fighters out there, you know who you are, that's done talk that bullshit, and you sitting up here want to have people try to find out negative stuff about them. If that's the circle you live in, cool. But guess what? I've had to perform in leadership positions. Not every grown man I talk to know about leadership. So when I'm saying up there, being respectful for you in public, that's cause of the foundation. You know what I'm saying? That's cause of the foundation I had to grow up to. I didn't go up in the Marine Corps with a nice life. It wasn't easy. I almost got kicked out my first 4 years. I'm straight out the city. I put hands on a drill instructor the first time he was in there calling me nigga. I did. I say, my daddy hit harder than that, but you're not going to put hands on me in boot camp and then drop a racial slur because that's what you feel like. I didn't come into boot camp playing. I came into boot camp already with an attitude from leaving the household that I was looking to get away from to begin with when I graduated. So shit, you talking to somebody who graduated high school. I was in boot camp 2 weeks later. So fighters, if I'm covering combat sports media, understand just because I don't talk about what I did growing up doesn't mean I ain't been a part of that life. I've experienced a whole hell of a lot. But that doesn't mean you let the glasses fool you. That don't mean just because I don't have freaking facial hair. There's a reason for that. I ain't had facial hair damn near my whole entire time when I went into the military. I haven't did it. So just because I ain't wearing no big ass beard, coming in here with motherfucking locks in my shit, my hair, most of the time I cut on my own. I keep that shit low, crispy, and that's what I choose to do. Y'all can say what you want. Period. I appreciate that Ohio's run boxing, man. I appreciate the genuine media support that I get. Just a fun fact, man. I talked to Ohio run boxing a long time ago when I was on my way to a fight card, and he turned me on to Photoshop. That's how clueless I was about the social media game. And this cat turned me on to the freaking Photoshop, man, while I was on the highway. All black people ain't offensive towards one another. So I appreciate that. I got mad respect for you, bro, Marcus. Appreciate it. Salute to you. Real talk. KZ said, guarantee if Wilder came out 50 pounds heavier, loads of complaints over the internet pointed out, but their favorite fighter won. So it don't matter. Williams say, my dad used to say, when you're stuck in a foxhole, fight for your life. You're not worried about what color the guy's next to you. Man, that is absolutely true. Because in the military, we had to sit up here and be in fighting holes and pre-operation deployments. We had to dig fighting holes. They tell us, you know, you stand right there where you're standing. You take out your shovel, your E-tool, right? And you dig until your shoulders are able to sit on top of the bunker like that. We used to dig with a shovel that was about this big. And we had to go through night fire training, day fire training, tactical training all the time. And you know what? When you looked across from you, it was your brother in the same uniform, regardless if you're white or black. That's true, man. You in that foxhole, you're going to expect incoming, or you expect when the enemy comes in there running full speed and you have to defend him, or they have to defend you. They're going to look at you as a Navy, Marine, anytime. They're going to look at you as such. They're going to say, hey, that's my comrade in arms. They're not going to say, you know what? How many likes you got? How many likes you got? I know they just threw a grenade, but how many likes you got? How many subscribers you got on YouTube? Okay, man, I can't save you, man. I know you injured, but I can't save you. I know we trained this in the rear, but I can't save you. You know what? Matter of fact, I'm gonna go get help. I'm gonna go get help. I know you bleeding out. I'm gonna go get help. I'm gonna tell you another fun fact too, right? You know, to all these fighters who wanna, you know, think it's all about black media got to go through a stipulation. It comes to a point where you just got to stand up and say, you know what, you full of shit. You know, you full of shit. You put all these stipulations on supporting black media supporting you, but yet somebody that has an accent can walk up to you and say, hey, you might not have a moment of your time. Oh, sure. Ooh, I feel special. Ooh, you're a fighter, right? Oh, okay. What's your record? Oh, my record, 6-7. Oh, you have a 6-7 record. Oh, okay. You was the one that had the knockout. You had the knockout, right? It was a very entertaining fight. I like it. I like it. I like the knockout. I like it. So what's special about the sport? Let me tell me what's special about the sport that you like so much. You know, what gets you up in the morning? What gets your blood flowing? I mean, you have to have a massive interest into the sport to be in it as long as you have, right? Yeah, I have. I put dedication in it. I came for nothing, you know. It was a lot of killing going on in where I'm from, you know, as a black man in society, you know, it's just a lot that I had to endure. But through boxing took me out the streets, and it brought me to where I am now. And I never looked back. I always put every bit of my effort into the sport of boxing. And I just hope people see that. I really hope people look at what I am doing. They be inspired. They support me and everything. Oh, wow. That's a very inspiring, you know, backstory. I respect it much. And what's your name again? Oh, okay. I just want to know, you know, you mind? I'm going to put you on, you know, over in the UK. Sit up here and give you some viewership over in the UK. It was very nice to hear your story. Like so many American people, they talk about, you know, how they had to fight to the top. So it's very important that you understand that I appreciated the time. Thank you. I appreciate it. And they will basically give that reporter all the freaking attention. But when you show up with shades on, they may not have familiarization with you. Jared Hurd. And you say, hey, how you doing, champ? Can I get a quick interview with you? You know, just talk about boxing in general. And I ain't giving the interview right now. Okay. All right. But then you turn around and you see that same person over with the interview with ESPN or somebody else. Okay. All right, cool. And then you see some other fights when I ain't gonna get no shine to, which they only support one particular outlet, only because everybody is no way we could have been in the sport 20 years already, unless we was in the sport 20 years out here on the grind. So you get somebody who's actually been a part of this landscape for this long time, you look at it like, okay, that's what you've been doing. But I look at it like, well, I was in the service and now I'm out the service. I'm taking up what I love to do, and I'm out here on the grind in the field. And that's what I'm doing right now, right? So you try to explain to them, okay, yeah, I'm a grown ass man, ain't a little kid and 20 years old trying to sit up here and get an autograph. I've never asked a fighter for an autograph that I interview. Never. Now I have taken pictures, but I've never asked for any autograph. But I'm gonna tell you point blank period, as black media, the most friction and pushback that I've had while covering the sport is come from my own people. My own people. And you trying to, and you got a problem with me saying that? I could care less, because it's true. If you come up there and you present yourself as such and you treat these fighters with respect, some of them don't want it. They think, what's the ulterior motive? Why is this guy trying to get an interview with me? Who is he? Do you know anything about him? That's where we at. It's a fighter that I want to mention so bad, but out of integrity to my brand and what I do, I'm not here to put any fighters on blast, no doubt. But I'm just here. My whole point today was to get on here and say, you know what, black people, don't get on here and post all these inspirational quotes when you make it so hard for your own people to grow around you. Like, I repeat that shit again. You all make it so difficult for your own people to grow around you when you actually may be growing pretty good and you have a background. You had your metric to success has proven well for you. But then when you get somebody else that may have the desire but not the know-how up top, you don't even want to give them the proper tools to grow along with you in the process of working. You'd rather say, nah, they trying to grow off me. They trying to get from me. They trying to take off my plate. That's how we operate, some of us. Not everybody, but that's how we operate. And if you criticize a black person for making being outspoken about something that you know is true, you're a hypocrite yourself. You're a coward for even coming up here acting like that's point blank period, man. So those of you that's tuned in, man, hell yeah. You know what it is. Don't get it twisted. You're not speaking to a dummy. My work ethic is what you see out here on the grind. And, you know, I appreciate the donations to the channel. I truly appreciate it. Real talk. I'm grateful. Thank you all for donating to the live chat. Appreciate y'all tuning in, dropping your input. Usually I post the comments on my live, but today I just had to address people who are steadily putting up this inspiration to unify. We had Kobe Bryant, and then what you see. Let's all bond together on social media and put up here, oh man, y'all talking crap about Kobe Bryant. His rape case didn't have nothing to do with him crashing, him and his daughter. True enough. But that's just how society is. And then we have Deontay Wilder losing his belt. And the only thing we can put on here is, man, it's quickly how people change up. Of course they're going to change up because it's easy for them to do if they never fully supported the champ to begin with. Know that. Until next time, y'all turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports. Salute.